election. He said I was the first Eurosceptic. He's wrong. It was Henry VIII. He was the first Eurosceptic. You know, I'd like to say that it's a pleasure to be back on the platform with Sammy and with Connor, because we stood together and fought with each other in that historic referendum back in 2016. But the truth of it is, they thought they'd seen the last of me because I was happy with that referendum result. We shouldn't even need to be here today if our politicians had done their job. You know, my day started off today. I got off the battle bus in Christchurch and I went round Christchurch Market and I visited stallholders. I met some members of the public, and then it all went wrong. We found a pub. But I reminded myself that the first time I'd gone round Christchurch Market with leaflets was in the spring of 1994. I've spent nearly 25 years of my life fighting and battling to get this country out. Fighting and battling to get this country out of the European Union because I believe in Britain and because I wanted my country back. That's why I did it. That's what I fought for. And what a day the 23rd of June 2016 was. A day when, despite everything, despite global leaders lining up to tell us not to make this terrible mistake. Remember, they even brought the American President, Obama, over to tell us we shouldn't vote to leave. And that awful pasty-faced man who was Chancellor Osborne threatening us with emergency budgets and 500,000 jobs would go. We were told it would be a disaster. We were told plagues of black locusts would descend on our land, and despite it all, we went out. And in the greatest democratic exercise in the history of this nation, we voted leave. And I can't help thinking that it needs to become a national bank holiday known as Independence Day. That'd make sense. The trouble is, things are not exactly going to plan. We have had a concerted, non-stop attempt by big banks, big business, and big politics, and they have campaigned literally every single day since that referendum to dilute it, to delay it, even to stop it. Every day we see Nick Clegg popping up. Tony Blair popping up. Well, I can't better that really, because he is pretty awful, isn't he? But Lord Adonis, yes. Alistair Campbell, how about him? I mean, every day we see this attempt, and now, Bob Geldof's back, God help us. I thought we'd seen him off on the River Thames, but there we are. And now they tell us they want a people's vote. Well, let me tell you, we had the people's vote. It was in 2016 and we won. That's the end of it. And the mood out there in Christchurch Market and elsewhere where I've been, if they think that people who voted Brexit are somehow now disenchanted with the result, then I tell you what, politicians, you want to get out more. You want to go and meet real people, ordinary folk, where they live. We believe in Brexit. In fact, I think because of the sheer arrogance and bullying of Barnier and Juncker and all of them, I think we believe in leaving the European Union even more today than we did back then. I've got to tell you, that was the day after the referendum. There was an emergency debate in the European Parliament. So I thought, well, I best show up, you know. Because I've worked quite hard over there. I've always tried to make positive and helpful contributions to their debates. And I turned up and I walked into the well of the Parliament, and there were about 100 cameras there. And there waiting for me was European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker. And he came up and he put an arm round me and he said, "Bastard." Which is probably why I did say to them on that morning, when I came here 17 years ago, I said to you I would lead a campaign to take the United Kingdom out of the European Union. And you laughed at me. Well, I said, you're not laughing now, are you? But I'm afraid the effect of lobbying, the effect of big business, the lure of jobs in Brussels has now had an effect upon the leaderships of our mainstream parties. We keep talking about the Conservative Party and its problems. We forget that 5 million people who voted for Brexit in 2016 voted for the Labour Party in 2017. And I heard Sir Keir Starmer on the radio this morning, one of the rare times I listen now to the BBC. I find there are some commercial alternatives that are rather better, but anyway. And there was Starmer basically saying the Labour position now is Labour wants to stay in the customs union. Labour no longer has any desire for this country to be able to make its own trade deals. We'll have them done on our behalf by the European Union, and they retain the right to go for a second referendum. There are 5 million Labour voters who, as we speak, are literally being betrayed by the Labour Party. And it's time we told them how wrong that is. And as for our Prime Minister, well, I completely understand, Connor, why you resigned and why David Davis resigned, and I do understand why, for a brief period, people believed in her. Because she gave this big speech at Lancaster House. Even I thought, crikey, you know, we really have changed things. We really are going to win. She kept on saying, we will take back control of our laws, our money, our borders. She kept on telling us, Brexit means Brexit. But little did we know that not only is she a woman who is too weak to negotiate with the European Commission. I'd much rather we'd sent someone like Trump, personally, but... or anybody. Anyone that actually believed in Brexit. But I'm afraid she has also been deceitful and duplicitous. And I'm afraid that with every single week that gets worse, it gets worse and worse, doesn't it? Chequers was bad enough. Now it's Chequers minus. Now she actually wants to tie us in to a customs union until at least the end of 2021. And that, of course, means effectively until the next general election, when you could get a government that simply wants to keep us in. Brexit, Mrs. May, I'm afraid now, when she says it, she actually means remain. And that is nothing less than a betrayal of what the people of this country voted for. Frankly, I think if Brexit does get watered down to this extent, or indeed we're forced to have a second referendum, I think the damage this will do to the trust, faith and hope people have in democracy, in British government, in our way of life, will be incalculable. I really do. So I stood aside for about 18 months, wondering whether I should get back involved again. And I've decided, as I said in that video earlier, if I've got to do this again, then this time it's no more Mr. Nice Guy, okay? I've joined forces with Leave Means Leave. I've joined forces with a group of people who are here from business, who are not doing this out of their own personal political ambition, but because they believe in their country. And I'm sharing platforms with people from across the entire political spectrum, those from business and all parts of society. This campaign is not about left or right. This campaign is about right and wrong. This campaign is the most important campaign that has ever been fought in British history. This is not even about debating the merits of the issues. It's not even about discussing why we should have control of our borders, why we shouldn't give away vast sums of money, why we should be free to open up to the rest of the world, including particularly our own friends in the Commonwealth. All of those arguments have been had and been won. No, this campaign is about something more fundamental. This campaign is a matter of trust. This campaign is about Brexit being delivered. And that is all we're asking for in Leave Means Leave. We're simply asking our politicians to do what they promised. Every single leading player on both the Leave and the Remain side told us that a vote to leave meant we left the European Union, the single market, and the customs union. Even that leaflet, do you remember Cameron's leaflet? The one that he spent 9 million quid of our money on, that he put through every letterbox in this country. And boy, how I enjoyed posting mine back through the letterbox of number 10. But that leaflet couldn't have been clearer. That leaflet said, however you vote, we will implement the result. We have been given a promise by our political class, and they are in the course right now of breaking it, and it's time for us to stand up and fight again. On your chairs. On your chairs, you will see the names, addresses, phone numbers and emails of all the members of Parliament for Dorset. Now, there are some rather good members of Parliament for Dorset, just as there are some good members of Parliament from the county of Antrim. But I'll tell you something, even those men and women who we know have got the courage within them to stand up and resist the pressure of the whips and everything else, even those MPs need to hear from you, because those MPs are going to need your support whilst they're put under massive pressure. But I'm more interested in those members of Parliament in Dorset, a county which of course did sensibly, being the beautiful place that it is, vote resolutely leave. But I want you to pressurise your members of Parliament. I don't want you writing them letters. Go and visit them at their surgeries. Queue round the block. Meet them face to face. Make them feel the heat. Make them understand that to sign us up to support being part of a customs union, being a vassal state that has its laws made somewhere else, is unacceptable, and that if they do this, you will never give them your vote again. Make them feel the heat. We are in Leave Means Leave reactivating the People's Army, that ground campaign that won us the referendum in 2016. And we're here not just for the short term. We will never go away until we get back the independence and self-government of our nation. I am completely and utterly committed to it. I hope that you are too. I believe that we are going to win. We are going to win. We are going to win. There is nothing they can say or do that will diminish our spirit. But now we need to come together, show our support, tell our MPs how they feel. We've beaten them once, and if it comes to it, folks, we'll beat them again. Does the air conditioning work in any of these buildings? Boiling, isn't it?